A buddy of mine had texted me last month with three dreaded words. I knew this was coming too because I had seen the stories. I knew what Plex was doing, and I dreaded it, but I got it. And his message said, Plex wants money. And he's right. But, let me back up and give you the full story here. He was sitting in a hotel room trying to watch a movie off of the server that he owns that is in his basement. Again, his movie, his server, his electricity bill, his internet bill, and Plex stopped him at the door and asked to pay up. Asked for that dreaded subscription. And, I had to tell him, yeah, man, that's real now. And that's been rolling out since last spring. And then he asked me the question I really didn't want to be asked. I dreaded this question for a year since Plex started making these changes. He asked, okay, so what should I use instead? Now, I run my own home media server. I set it up over an afternoon. It's been rock solid. And I still really didn't have a good answer for him. This is the Tyler Woodward Project, and today I'm talking about why running a home media server, even in 2026, is still a pain in the ass for normal people. These opinions are my own. Everything here is from my point of view, and nobody else's. Let's start with the Plex thing first, because it's impressive how fast they burned 20 years of goodwill with their user base. April 2025, the first price hike in over a decade. The lifetime pass, it goes from $120 to $250. Fine. Whatever. Companies raise rates. We may not like it, but they do raise prices. That same day, they put remote streaming of your own files behind the paywall. Stuff that had been free for the entire history of the Plex platform. You want to watch your own media away from home? That's a Plex Pass. Or your viewers each pay a couple of bucks a month for something called Remote Watch Pass, which already went up 50%, by the way. September 2025, they get breached. Emails, usernames, hashed passwords. Their third one. And next month, July, that lifetime pass triples again. $750 for software that sits there and organizes files you already own. Meanwhile, the actual product is 600 ad-supported streaming channels and a social network with emoji reactions. The personal media server part, the reason anybody showed up to Plex in the first place, is now the thing they monetize hardest and developed, the least. So everybody says the same thing. Just switch over to Jellyfin. I love Jellyfin. It's free. Actually free, not freemium, not, it's open source. No phone home to a central server. Hardware transcoding costs nothing, which is the one feature Plex always held hostage. The TV apps used to be rough, and they're genuinely pretty good now. The Roku app went from this broken piece of dumpster fire to pretty solid in about 2 years. If you run it, it's the better product. Full stop. So Why isn't this episode over? Well, remote access. That's the problem. Plex's whole magic trick was the relay. Their servers brokered the connection. So streaming from grandma's house, it just worked. No router settings, no networking degree was needed. Jellyfin doesn't have that. And I guess it's sort of on purpose. It's fully self-hosted. So you are the relay company now. Your options are a reverse proxy with SSL certificates, a VPN your whole family has to remember to turn on before movie night, or Tailscale installed and signed in on every device, which, I mean, Tailscale is great. I use it. It's also a sentence that means nothing to probably 95% of people who just want to watch a movie off of their home computer. Even if you do nothing, right? Your internet provider can kill it anyway. A lot of ISPs now stick you behind carrier grade NAT, CG natting, where you don't even get your own public IP address anymore. Port forwarding, it just doesn't work on CG natting. No, it's hard, not that it's impossible, and no setting on your router is going to fix that, because the problem lives on equipment you don't get to touch. So the free option requires a little bit of networking knowledge most people are not going to have. To solve a problem, their ISP might make unsolvable anyways. Fine. So you tell people, skip all that. Buy an appliance. I don't want to recommend Synology, but maybe a Synology, maybe a QNAP, a little box that just works. But yeah, let's talk about that Synology part, because April 2025, Synology announces their new Plus models will basically require Synology branded hard drives. Third-party Seagate or WD drives, the ones everybody actually owns, got you some sort of cryptic warning. Disabled features, and in some cases you couldn't even install the operating system at all. Drives that cost more for the stupid sticker that's on them, because Synology doesn't make drives. They're just rebranding them. Sales, as you can imagine, they cratered. Reviewers walked away, and in October, they backed down. Mostly. The walk back only covers the 2025 models. NVMe drives are still locked. And they have flat out refused to promise the 2026 hardware won't do it all over again. They didn't learn a lesson. They learned a timing lesson. QNAP's problem is a little different. Ransomware, Deadbolt, hit back in 2022 and infected thousands of internet-exposed QNAP boxes. Over 13,000 at its peak. $1,000 a box to get your files back. And QNAP's official advice boils down to don't expose your NAS to the internet. Disable UPnP. Patch immediately. Which, let's be honest, is correct advice. It is exactly the discipline that the person buying an appliance was trying to avoid needing. The appliances was supposed to be the easy button, the device button that now comes with vendor lock-in on one brand and ransomware history on the other. And I want to be honest, my media server took me an afternoon. Docker containers, hardware transcoding on Intel QuickSync, Tailscale for remote access. A used mini PC can do this for, I don't know, about $150. And it'll push multiple 4K streams while barely sipping on power. It has needed almost nothing from me since, except occasional update. But that afternoon was easy because of my extensive years of Linux experience standing behind me. I knew what a compose file was. I knew what CG natting was. I knew why the cheap ATEM chips were a trap and the N100s weren't. An afternoon for me is a month of frustrated weekends for someone else, and there's a real chance their ISP fails them at the finish line anyways, and no fault to their own. Because right now is when normal people finally want this. 6 streaming price hikes in 2025 alone. The average household is paying probably like $70 a month, and I'm sure plenty are paying over $100 a month. Shows you paid to watch get deleted now as tax write-offs. A $90 million movie get erased before anyone even saw the damn thing. People are fed up. They're ripping their DVDs and their Blu-rays again. Their CDs. People are buying CDs, ripping them, and streaming it that way instead of paying for even Spotify or Apple Music. And yeah, don't get it twisted. People are sailing the high seas again. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your evenings, but whether it's your own legally purchased collection or media of more flexible, whatever, the desire to own a shelf of stuff that can't be repriced or deleted is I think, the most reasonable consumer instinct of the decade. The demand is here. The hardware is getting cheaper, except those damn RAM prices. The software, it's free and it's good. And the bridge, the day that Jellyfin or anyone ships a built-in secured zero config remote relay, I know that was a lot of words, something that can work behind CG natting without an account and an app on every device, this entire episode becomes obsolete. I would love for this episode, to become obsolete. Until then, here's where I land on all this. If you only watch at home, Plex's free tier or Jellyfin on your local network, either works. Local streaming is still free. If you want the remote access and you're not a technically inclined person, your honest options are unfortunately paying the company that just tripled its prices or finding a friend like me. We are the relay now. Be the friend with the server or go find one. In 2026, that's the install guide. I wish after all of that, I could have gave you better news. And maybe we'll do a deep dive at some point where, I don't know, I do a YouTube video on how to set up Jellyfin. Actually, I don't need to do it. There's plenty of creators out there who show you how to set up a Jellyfin server. But it's not only just setting up Jellyfin and saying, cool, done. I mean, you got to do, you got to mess with the CG natting or Tailscale or setting up a VPN to get access into the stuff or doing reverse proxy through Nginx. There's a lot of layers to it. And unfortunately, Plex is still the easier way to go, even if they are charging a little bit more money. And at least that way, you still have access to files, both that you may have got somewhere else that's a little questionable or your own media collection. Subscribe on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Also, I'm over on iHeartRadio. Rate and review the show. Follow me on Facebook and YouTube at The Tyler Woodward Project. Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. I'm over there at tylerwoodward.me. Reach out and say hello. Also, subscribe to the Substack, substack.tylerwoodward.me. I put a blog up there for almost every episode with a few more details. This is all independent. This is my own work. I don't have any sponsors. It's just me talking about nerdy stuff that I like. Share it, subscribe to it, and that's all I got for you today. I'll catch you guys next week.